Hi everyone. I am gonna be recapping Marco Polo, season one, episode three, entitled "The Feast." And so basically, what you see at the beginning of the episode is this man sitting cross-legged, um, as you hear another person killing other people, um, and so um, you assume when it kind of cuts to a different scene that the guy that you saw sitting is killed, um, and so I didn't really know the significance of it until a little bit later in the episode, um, and then so the scene cuts to Marco being trained by Hundred Eyes, and Hundred Eyes is telling him that kung fu means supreme skill from hard work. He also says it's where one hand lies and the other tells the truth. And the only way to acquire kung fu is through repetition or endless repetition, and um, until your bones ache and you don't sweat, or you don't have the ability to sweat, after kicking Marco's ass again, for like the 100th time. He says that Marco doesn't have it. Um, then it cuts to China, or Zhongyang, to where Chancellor is walking down a set of steps with uh, two rows on either side of him, of the city's army, where he is asking, or telling the army that some people are questioning the Song Court, and so that he then asks the general to bring forth his best warrior, who has the nickname of Whirlwind Tiger, and he asked the Whirlwind Tiger what he thinks of the crooked minister's praying mantis games. So he answers, and I guess what the chancellor hears isn't what he wants to hear from the soldier. So he tells the soldier that he wants to kind of fight against him, and to demonstrate why he's called Whirlwind Tiger, and the chancellor is like, well, if you win, you will get promoted and get, you will get, greater pay and better service and everything. But if the chancellor, wins, you will be my chamber boy. You will be my chamber boy. So they fight. The warrior loses, or looks like he loses. And it looks like he's going to be the chancellor's chamber boy, but then the chancellor kills him, which I thought was so damn pointless, because what was the point of making the whole big ass speech in front of everybody else about, if I lose, you get to do, you get to have this, but if I win, you have to do this. You have to be this for me. It's like, what was the fucking point? Don't, like, no. And honestly, I'm not gonna be sad if the chancellor fucking dies in a gruesome death, because look what the fuck he did to his sister. Like, like, really? Like, he's gonna do that to your sister? Like, come on. Like, you saw last episode that he tried to force her to have sex with 3 of his soldiers, and it's like, well, why are you gonna do that to your own fucking sister? Like, really? Like, why? I mean, now you're gonna ship her ass off to be the Khan's concubines. Like, I mean, how you gonna fucking do your sister dirty like that? Like, nah. So I'm not gonna be sad if one day the Chancellor fucking dies a horrible, gruesome fucking death in the most painful way possible. So, anyway, so back to the episode. Kublai then is talking to his court, saying that it was necessary for him to kill his brother, and asks if anyone has any objections to it. I don't know what he does. He says, "This is the last time I'm gonna ever talk about my damn brother, at least as far as what I did to him and why and everything else." And so he then says that his cousin Kaidu is to inherit his brother's land, and Kublai then says that he has a lot to think about as far as attacking Zhanyang right away or not. And then after that, his cousin Kaidu was like, can you come over to my encampment to, I think he either said tomorrow night or that same night or something. Either way, he says, can you come over to my encampment sometime later? And Kublai is like, okay, fine, I'll do it, I'll accept. And that's when two soldiers come in carrying a chest in it, and set it down in front of Kublai, and they say that it's a tribute from the Chancellor of Shenyang. So, but before he opens it, he asks the royal court, excuse me, how many Song prisoners there were. I'm assuming what he means is prisoners that were taken from his army when they were defeated. And I think it was his son who said it, but either way, someone said that only about a dozen of his soldiers were captured. And that's when he opens that's when it's revealed, after he had opened the chest, that the soldier from the very beginning of the episode, his head's the one that's in the chest. And he says that they're going to pay tribute to the 12 or so people, or 12 or so soldiers that were abducted and killed and everything. And then it cuts to the dozen or so women who were brought into Khan's Great Hall of Five Desires, where he sleeps with his concubines and everything. And this guy has them stripped naked and lined up in 2 rows of 6. And he walks in between them and is explaining that the people who are most proficient in the art of arousal will earn the privilege of residing in Khan's Great Hall of Five Desires permanently, and they will remain there until they are released from service, from royal service anyway. And if they're not chosen by the Empress, they are going to be chosen by Khan's court. And if they're not chosen by Khan's court, then they will be shipped off to be sold to other whorehouses in other camps and everything. So Marco then cuts to Marco seeing this woman Kokachin, who is assumed, or not assumed, but is supposed to be the Blue Princess, leaving on a horse as he is in the stables. And so he follows her and sees that she wraps a necklace in a cloth and buries it next to the tree that he was talking to her at in the previous episode. And then when she leaves, he sees someone else come up and pick the necklace up. And so he follows, once that person leaves, he follows that person into town and into this, what I believe is a whorehouse. And So he's promptly kicked out though once he enters, and then it cuts to a scene where him and Hundred Eyes are um, uh, kind of talking, and um, Kublai has summoned Marco, and before Marco goes to meet Kublai, Hundred Eyes tells Marco that the Blue Princess's parents were killed for not bending to a Khan, and the only reason why she has been spared is because of the fact that she has royal blood, and royal blood is valued. So with that, Marco goes to Kublai in the garden, and Kublai asks him to tell him of the story of the two brothers that's in the Bible, which is, well, I think Cain and Abel. And so they talk about that for a little bit, and then you cut to Ahmed and the Empress. It cuts to those two talking about various things. One thing that they talk about is how the Empress doesn't want to pick concubines for her husband. Another is Ahmed's worry that killing the tax collector the way that they did, or just killing them at all, was kind of like, not right to do. And they also talk about, the Khan going to war and everything, and how maybe it's necessary. And then the Empress just, gets up and leaves. And while they're talking, they're watching as the concubines are, trying to please, like, rouse each other and everything. And it then goes to Zhanyang, to where the Chancellor is talking to this woman, and he wants to know how she knows his sister, and they were friends while they were concubines for the royal court and everything. And he says that during the day she won't be pleasing other men. What she'll be doing is taking care of his niece in his sister's chambers. But what she does at night, he doesn't really fucking care, as long as as long as she takes care of his niece while Meilin is in Mongolia. And then it comes back to the Empress of Mongolia, and she's choosing concubines. And when she gets to Meilin, she doesn't choose Meilin at all. But Meilin steps forward and is like, "Well, please, like, I need to be picked." And the Empress is like, "Well, no, you can't. I'm not gonna pick you." Then it cuts to Kublai talking to who I assume is one of his advisors, and Kublai is asking this guy what he thinks of Marco. And he says that Marco is insightful and passionate, but he is very, very reckless. But even though that he might be reckless, he says that Marco is fine to use this however the Khan wants him to be used. Then Kublai sends his son to Kaidu's encampment alone, because apparently he has gout and it's causing him a lot of pain and distress, so he decides to stay home. And then you see the Empress rubbing Kublai's feet, or left foot in particular, and telling him how Ahmed thinks that going to war is necessary. And Kublai is wondering, like, why are they telling you this? Along with people telling her that they're worrying that Kublai killing his brother is a worrying thing, because, and she says that it's because apparently, well, at least I think from what I remember, what she says is that they feel like she has a good sway over him, and so she'll be able to, relay their fears and everything, because they fear that maybe he doesn't necessarily listen to them at all, but that much. And Kublai is like, well, if they have, why he's like, well, why are you worrying about what about me killing my brother before? You don't really care. And she's like, well, I don't really care. They care. It's like that's their fears, not mine. I'm happy about it. Like you said, I'm the one who told you to kill his ass. So, but yeah. Anyway, so that's what they talk about for a few minutes, and then at Kaidu's encampment, Kaidu's daughter catches his eye, or Marco's eye, and they go to a secluded spot and they have this conversation where they're basically flirting with each other. And eventually she asks him to wrestle with him. They kind of do. They don't have this full out wrestle match or anything, but that leads to a kiss, and that then eventually leads to them having sex. And then 100 Eyes comes up behind Kublai in the next scene, and Kublai is like, well, my brother's death was necessary. After 100 Eyes it says that Kublai seems to be distressed and not sleeping based off of his guilt for killing his brother, and that so Kublai has said, like I said 2 seconds ago, that he killed his brother because it was justified. And 100 Eyes' response to that is, it wasn't justified, it was just necessary to make a point. Back at Kaidu's encampment, Ahmed asks if the Khan has heeded their counsel, and Kaidu says he thinks that possibly. And then as Kaidu's daughter is in the middle of the circle that everyone is sitting in, she's trying to wrestle this guy, and Kaidu's saying as he looks at his daughter, oh, I don't think my daughter's ever gonna find someone to marry or anything. And that's when Marco realizes that the girl that's in front of him, who he slept with, is Kaidu's daughter. And so he stands up and is like, okay, fine, I'll go, wrestle for her. After they, make fun of the prince a little bit for some stuff. Then the prince goes back to his father, and is like, and he's upset because everyone is always teasing him about acting and thinking like Chinese, thinking in a Chinese sort of way, and they're also making fun of him for speaking in a sort of Chinese way, and Kublai's like, well, buck the fuck up, dude, and make them see that you're just as Mongolian as them. Like, shit, stop fucking complaining and go prove their ass wrong. And then it cuts to Mei Lin in the Great Hall of Five Desires, where she's looking down and upset about the fact that she's not going to be one of Kublai's consorts, and therefore is not going to see her daughter again, basically. And one of the women who was picked by the Empress to be the Khan's consort or concubine, is gets up and goes to the bathroom, and as this woman is using the bathroom, Maylin, or who I assume is Maylin, cuts her right cheek, and what I think is, and the reason why I think that is because uh, I think Maylin thinks that by her cutting the girl's cheek, she will then therefore become ugly in the eyes of the Khan, and therefore will make the Khan dismiss the woman with the cut cheek and the ugly face, and therefore then pick Maylin. So that's why I think she does. That's why I think she does it. Um, and then it shows. Um, then Kublai asks Marco later what everyone said at Kaidu's encampment, um, and so he talks about that for a little bit before um, the Empress walks in on Kublai and someone having sex in their bed chambers. Um, it's not right away revealed who it is, but eventually Mei Lin looks back and at the Empress, and the Empress kind of stops short after realizing that Mei Lin is the one who's having sex with the husband, and so um, um, and not Mei Lin, the Empress then kind of masks her anger at Mei Lin blatantly being brought into the bedchambers anyway, even though she didn't pick her. And then it cuts to the last scene of the episode where Marco rides out to the tree that Kokachin was at early in the episode, and he looks in the hiding spot, and there's his bag and the scarf. In the bag is a snake, and the snake then jumps out towards the camera, and that's the last thing you see. So that is the end of the episode, and basically my first theory, or one of my theories of Mei Lin was wrong, where I thought she would run away on the way to Mongolia. That one was totally wrong. But now I think one of two things will happen based off of that. Either she's going to run away, eventually run away one night after being in Mongolia as the Khan's concubine for a few months. Either she's going to do that, or what she's going to do is she's going to feed her brother false information about the Khan to make him look bad in front of the rest of Zhanyong. And therefore he might take revenge on her. Or both of those could happen, honestly. At this point, both of those could happen, because anything can happen with a show like this. So, yeah, so that's my 2 cents on Mei Lin. As far as Marco goes, I think what will happen is Kaidi's daughter is going to end up pregnant because of their having sex earlier in the episode, and so therefore he somehow, like, before she's married, she's gonna wind up pregnant, and she's gonna start showing and everything, and her father Kaidi is gonna demand where who she had sex with, and eventually it's gonna come out that Marco did. I think. But then again, maybe not, but I'm leaning more towards that it will be revealed, because, I mean, come on, what was the point of showing us that he had sex with her if it wasn't going to be revealed at some time? But I also still think that he's going to end up being in a relationship, or having a secret relationship with Kokachin sometime, or do something with Kokachin anyway later in the future, though that's kind of becoming slimmer like the chance for that is becoming slimmer and slimmer by the episodes. So that's all my predictions for Marco Polo. Now I want to make a little announcement as far as Marco Polo and 11/22/63 go, and Escape the Night as well. I will watch an episode every single day as far as Marco Polo goes, and post a video on it every single day, because Netflix released all of episode 1 and episode not episode 1 but all of episode season 1 and season 2 at once. So that's what I'll do, is watch an episode every single day, at least every single weekday, to make a video on it the next day about what I think. And I will do this for at least for season 1, and depending on how I feel after season 1 is finished, I might or might not watch season 2. I'll make a determination after all of season 1 is finished. Now, as far as 11/22/63 goes, I will watch one episode every week, and will post a video on it every Tuesday, since I posted the first episode yesterday, on July 26th. And since today is Wednesday, that brings me to Escape the Night, where I will most likely watch the remaining episodes Wednesday, sometime Wednesday night or Wednesday afternoon or whatever. And then on Thursday, the next day, I will make a video on what I have seen and what I think will happen in future episodes until all of them have finished. Now, that is all I have to say about that. So just a quick, 2-second refresher about what I just said. 11/22/63 is going to be one episode per week. Marco Polo is going to be every single day for until I finish season 1, which shouldn't be too long. And then Escape the Night is, I'm going to watch at Wednesday night and make a video on it the next day. So that's all I have to say about that. Now, as far as everything else, I will just determine what else I want to watch later, as they come back on TV in the fall, and I'll make announcements about that either when they come back on in September, or possibly as soon as next month in August. But with that said, hit like if you like my videos, hit subscribe if you want to get more videos or notifications of when I post new videos. And talk to me about what I've discussed so far in both 11/22/63 and Marco Polo, and even Escape the Night, and just let me know what you think of it, and what I've discussed so far, because I would love to discuss it in the comments, because so far I haven't been able to. Nobody's really commented or anything, so please just comment on everything and let me know what you think, and what you think of what I've said, and what you think of even the episodes so far. But with all that said, I will see you guys in tomorrow's episode recap of Escape the Night. Bye.